have like a high, oops.
Sorry, that was me. Carry on.
No, it's okay. That's kind of a high level version of it. And then the next thing, if you want to, I don't know, can we have the slides up at the same time as this?
You know, unfortunately, we can't. I was thinking about that. So when we need to bounce back to that, we'll just have to unshare your screen. I'll bounce through the slides to catch us up, and then we'll go back to this.
Okay, because I did want to, while we're talking about emergency contacts, I wanted to talk about emergency phone calls, but I have a slide for that. So why don't, I'm still sharing my screen, we'll do the find me thing right now.
That's a good idea.
Okay, so now I'm going to show you talk to you about another feature called the Find Me feature. And what that does is it allows you to locate a lost or stolen device. And you can also locate a friend's device. So like your spouse's or your father's or whoever's.
I think technically it's Find My, Monique, right? So that you're not necessarily finding yourself, but you're finding your device. So it's Find My.
Yes, Find My. It's called Find My. And of
weird.
course, on older phones, it was different. It was sort of divided into Find My Phone and Find My Friends. And now the Find My feature kind of contains both of those. The nice thing about this one also is that it allows you to share your location with people. So I'm going to go do a quick demo of that. The first thing you need to do is to make sure your location services are on. So I'm going to walk everybody through that. So I'm going to close out of that and I'm going to go to settings. So on my phone, it's the bottom, on the bottom row, it's the cog, the gray cog. I'm sure everybody's familiar with settings. Okay, so we're going to go to settings. And then we're going to go to privacy. I'm going to scroll down here, which is where the little blue hand is. Okay, and as you can see here, my location services is on. That's the first line up there. So the Find Me features don't work unless that's on. Okay, so that's the first thing I want to make sure if you want to set this up. So now I'm going to go back to settings. Okay, and I'm going to click on my profile. See where my name is? I think people often forget about this this place.
You can click on that.
But you can click on it. See, anytime there's a little arrow, do you see that little arrow to the right? Anytime you see that, it means basically there's something else there, you know, click here and it'll take you somewhere. So I'm going to click on my name. Okay. And then you see where the green is, where it says Find My. That's where we're going to go. So we're going to go to Find My. Okay. And this is where you kind of control that feature. And so I have my Find My iPhone feature on. Okay. So if you want to be able to find your phone, you want to turn that feature on. So I have mine on, and I also have Share My Location on. Okay, so those are two separate things that now they're like here. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit. I'm going to go actually now to the app and show you kind of how it works. But this is kind of where you turn it on. Okay, under settings. Is everybody with me? Who's interested?
Yeah, basically you need those two features enabled for Find My iPhone to be usable. Okay.
And this is a really, really great feature. Like I have it set up for my kids, obviously, because I'm a mom, but I also have it set up for my father, who's 84 and lives by himself in Santa Fe. So I can kind of help keep track of him. So now I'm going to go back to the main screen. And so the way I do that on my phone, I have the 10, is I kind of swipe up to close out everything. And now I'm going to go back. Now I'm going to look for the Find Me thing. Again, I have so many apps on my phone, it's hard to find. I happen to know where it is because my daughter color-coded my apps, and it's in green. But remember, you can swipe to the left and put that global search in, And before I even type, Siri's giving me the suggestions, and you could see it there. It's the green one with the blue dot in the middle. So I'm going to open Find My. So I could type it in, or I could just select it. Okay. So there's Find My. And so what you can see from here, just looking at this, on the bottom, see the very bottom of my screen, it says People and Devices and Items and Me. So the People one is highlighted right now because that's what I have clicked. I have that showing. And so I can see all my people. Okay. So I list the people. So I've got Natalie, Gabriel, and Oliver, and it lists them. And then I can see them all. I can see where they all are, which is really handy. So if I scroll in, I'm going to move this over and I'm going to scroll in. You can actually see that there's 2 people in my house. And the nice thing about the people feature is you can click on somebody. So I'm going to click on my son right now. He's at work. I'm going to click on him. And there's several things that I can do. So do you guys know to sort of make that bar go up, I'm going to touch on that little,
it's called a handle.
The little handle right here, right? I'm going to touch on that and it makes that bigger. So from my people, and I'm clicking on one of them, I can do all kinds of things. I could push directions that would show me how long it would take me to get to him if I needed to get to him. I could stop sharing my location with him. And then I can also add notifications. This comes in kind of handy sometimes. So what I do is I want to know when he's going to get home. So if you have a spouse who's out and about and you want to know when they made it safely home, for example, I can click on this and I can say, notify me when Oliver arrives at home. Okay. And then what happens is I'm going to add that notification and he's notified that I set that up. And then what happens is when he gets home, so say he gets home at work at 2 in the morning, I get a notification on my phone quietly that just lets me know that he's home. So if there's somebody in your life that you want to keep track of and know that they made it home safely or made it to an appointment safely, that's one way that you can do that. And that's under People.
Cool.
The next thing you can do is under Devices. So right next to it, I'm going to click on Devices, and you see how it highlighted that blue? And this lists all of our devices. And we have a lot. Unfortunately, I need to probably get rid of some of these. But you can see there's all of Natalie's devices and all of my devices. The only real one that matters is my phone, and my computer, right? But you can see this is the map, right? And you can see both of them are in my house. Now, the reason this is really handy, though, is let's say you think you left your laptop somewhere or your iPhone somewhere and you don't remember where it is. You can find your phone and find all of your devices.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really handy. The other thing that's really handy for tracking is you can actually manage your devices. So for example, let's say I'm going to click on my computer. So we have my phone and my computer. And let's say I lost my computer. And or somebody stole it, even is a better example. Somebody stole the computer and I had sensitive data on it that I didn't want anybody to have. I can actually erase the whole device from here.
With that feature at the bottom there, right?
Yeah, with the feature at the bottom. I can also mark it as lost. I'm not exactly sure what that does, to be honest with you.
It might lock it so no one can open it.
Oh, my daughter said it probably locks it so no one can open it. Yeah. And then you can also click this. You can also click this notify when found button. I'm not sure what that does either. But at any rate, sometimes you don't really learn these things until you need to. Until you actually lose the device. But just knowing that you can do that is really, 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 really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then you can also play a sound. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
We've used that on many occasions in our household.
Right. So what that was doing is, like, say you are in your house and you can't find your phone, you can make that sound and you can go find your phone. So I'm going to pause there to see if anybody has any questions. Okay, we have a question. Okay, so Michelle says she wants to take a moment to find where we are because you're lost. So I'll use the Find My feature to find you, Michelle. Just kidding. So what we're talking right now about a feature called Find My, which helps you find your phone and your other devices. So I'm going to go back and show you what it looks like.
And your people.
What's that? And your people.
And your people.
Yeah. So we were working off this in the middle of my screen. Do you see the one with the blue dot? This is an app that's built into all the iPhones.
Yeah, it comes with the operating system, so it's a built-in utility by Apple. On your phone.
And if you don't see it on your screen, your home screen, you can find it. So remember what I said, the way I look for it is I kind of scroll all the way left to the global search. There's another way to do it where if you tap down from up here from the top, you tap down like this. Isn't that how you did it, Todd? Yeah, you can do it that way. So let's pause. Does anybody find the Find My that wants to?
Yeah.
Yes.
I see some nods. What do you think, Michelle? Have you found the application, the little app?
There's Michelle.
You're on mute, by the way. If you want.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes, I think I have found it. Do I
Okay.
have to upload it?
No, you shouldn't need to. It comes with every iPhone because it's a piece of software that Apple built themselves, and they include with all of the operating systems for all their iPhones.
Okay.
It's
It
their
says
product.
Find My and then extras.
It says Find My what?
It says Find My and then it says extras.
Find My and then extras, huh? That's what you see when you tap on yours?
Right.
You should be able to go into.
All right, I got it now.
You
I
got
had turned off knowing my location.
yes. At the beginning of this feature, Monique took us into settings to show us the two different.
Yeah, I got it all in settings.
You want us to do that one more quick time?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Is that a feature you think you might use?
I've turned on the feature now.
Okay. All right. Well, if you have trouble with that, we've got some resources at the very end of our presentation that we can point you to, including a couple questions about how we might handle these kinds of events going forward. So stay put, and we'll get to that shortly.
Jolly good, thank you.
So there's one other quick thing about that I wanted to go over about Find My, and that is if you lose your phone, you can't use your phone to find your phone. Right?
Right. So what do you do?
So what do you do? Does anybody have any thoughts? Like, say I lost my phone. I can't find my phone because I lost my phone, but I can't use my phone to find it.
Right.
Does anybody have any thoughts?
Have someone else call your number.
Yeah.
That's an idea. What did you say, Paula?
Another device. Use another device like my smartphone.
There you go.
Your watch.
Watch, yeah.
Yep.
Or my iPad.
Can you use a laptop?
Yes.
There you go. Good.
There you
You're
go.
getting warm. You're getting warm. What do you do when you get to that laptop?
Don't know.
Okay, tell us, Monique.
So then what you can do is you can go to iCloud, and we're gonna talk about this briefly when we talk about backing up and syncing. But most of you should have your phones automatically backing up and syncing with the cloud. That way, if you lose your phone, you don't lose all of your data, right? Think about your contacts and your calendar and photos and everything. So there's an account, and if you guys aren't familiar with this, we have time at the end, we can walk through it. But and it's on the slides too. But if you go to iCloud.com and you sign in there
With your
Apple ID, That's can be tricky because not everybody always has their Apple ID, but if you have an iPhone, you have to have your Apple ID to do a lot of things. So you sign into iCloud with your Apple ID and it can show you all kinds of stuff. And I think I'm actually done with my phone, Todd. If you want to, I can stop sharing. We'll bring the slides back up
Sure.
because
Go
I
for
have
it.
a demo of that on the slide.
Yep, if you stop sharing, I will start sharing.
Okay, so yeah, go to maybe slide 12 if you don't mind.
Not at all. I don't have them numbered here, so you stop me. This one? No, we did that. Calling emergency services.
We're going to come back to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going. Keep going. This one. Yeah. So here on this slide, you can, I wrote how to do this. You can go to iCloud.com and /find, and that'll basically take you right to the Find My Phone thing. So really quickly, you can do this from any browser. It doesn't have to be your laptop, right? You could borrow a neighbor's, you could, go to a hotel, like you could do it anywhere. You just sign into iCloud from any browser with your Apple ID and you can find your phone. It's really handy, but go back up real quick. But on the bottom right, what I wanted to show you is if you just go to iCloud.com, this is what it will look like, where you can see your mail and your contacts and your calendar and everything. And on the bottom right is Find Phone.
And it'll show you all the apps you have on your phone too.
Exactly. It's awesome. So before we move on, can you go back up to the emergency slide? Okay. So I just wanted to sort of make sure that everybody's aware that if you do ever have an emergency, it's actually best not to call 911 from your cell phone if you can avoid it. I know sometimes, you might have to do that. But the reason is that 911 calls from cell phones get routed to CHP, which is the highway patrol. So it's going to take first responders longer to get to you. So I highly encourage everybody to have their local emergency number programmed on their cell phones. And we can do this later if people want. You go into your contacts and you just put it in like you would a normal contact. And I listed the number here for everybody. I also, there's a link down there if you don't believe me and you want to double check I have the right number, there's a link there that will take you to the Berkeley page. I'm also listing the non-emergency Berkeley number there. But at any rate, it's really best not to use 911. You could dial it, program that number, but there's also a feature called Emergency SOS built into the iPhones. And there's two ways to access this feature. You can, if you have a side button, you can rapidly push the button 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it'll automatically call the emergency SOS number. You can also hold down that side button and press one of the volume buttons on the other side. Now, this is for my phone. This is for the 10. The other phones might be different. If somebody wants to ping me, I can always help you find how it works on your phone. But I wanted to really put a plug in for this. The reason this is so important is it automatically calls your local emergency number and it automatically notifies your emergency contacts. Remember the ones we put in when we did the medical ID? It'll automatically notify those contacts when you call 911. So they will get a text message saying, your contact called 911, called emergency, and this is their location.
Who do you want to send it to?
Know that when you do call 911, if you're ever worried about, if you want to test it and you're worried about having an accident, it definitely gives you a countdown, right? It'll say 3, 2, 1. So you can end the call. So if you want to play with it, do it with somebody, but just know that you can end the call. There's a way to not make it go through. So, and I think.
Wow, I just tried it. Yeah, wow. So 5 taps on the power button got me an emergency signal and a 3, 2, 1 countdown and an ability to stop my call.
Right. And the nice thing about that is what the first responders, the screenshot I have on here is the first responders will use that also to access your medical ID when your phone is locked.
All right, I got some homework to do.
So does anybody have a question about that, about making the emergency calls from the iPhone? Mhm. So let me show you what it looks like on my daughter's phone. How did you get that? So she presses the home button. Oh, I don't know if you can see my, I don't know. Oh, you have to, screen sharing is on, never mind. Okay. Any questions on that?
That's good stuff, Monique. Any questions, everybody?
Are you going to talk about the Apple Watch full feature?
Wish we could. What's it called? The fall feature?
Yeah, it automatically says, have you had a fall? Do you want us to call 911?
Oh, that's cool. No, I admit to not being an Apple Watch user, whatever they're called.
And it worked one time, and another time it gave a false alarm.
Wow.
But you don't have to call 911. You can say you're okay.
Huh.
But you have 15 seconds to say that.
Wow, that's interesting. Paula, you're raising your hand. You've got an Apple Watch.
I do have them. I don't know how to do too much on it. It can do myriads of things. I only know
Right.
one or few of them. I've tried out the emergency call, the fall detection. I've tried that out twice.
Mhm.
And it worked very well. One of the first time I crashed my tricycle that I was riding on. And it was a pretty bad crash. I broke my humerus bone in my shoulder, in my upper arm. And I had enough presence of mind that I could hear that it was doing the countdown, or that I had a few seconds left. And so I shut it off because I didn't want the ambulance to come. I'd
Even though you
rather bother my husband. And the other time I was rushing to get to a phone call, and I crashed myself without my track, and it worked.
It worked, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's almost
wish-
enough reason right there as we get older to have the Apple Watch. I haven't crossed that bridge yet.
I need to learn more about it. I got it just before the pandemic, and so I didn't want to go back in and have them train me or
Right.
help me with it. I need to do that now.
Right. Well, as with so many of these tech gadgets, we feel like we know a lot about them, but there's so much underneath the surface of that iceberg that we don't know. But and then it comes back to the whole pain versus gain concept we talked about earlier. So anyway, good, Monique. Shall we bounce back then and just review what we covered with your few demos there? So the first one is setting up your medical ID in the health app on your iPhone. By the way, somebody chimed in with a question in chat that I'll answer right now real quick. Will this PowerPoint presentation be available after the event? And it definitely will. We'll probably put it up on the events page of the pdactive.org website. So follow-up emails will remind you that it's up there. So you'll see all of Monique's great tips and links and resources there. So we went through setting up your medical ID in the health app, and sub to that, how to set up, well, this was how to set up the actual ID, but then also how to add an emergency contact. And then calling emergency services. And then Monique, while she was still connected with her phone, went through the whole Find My application, and there were devices, and there were people, there were devices, and there was me, and there was a fourth one at the bottom there of those navigation options. So that was demo 2, how to set up Find My iPhone, how to use or Find My, whatever it is, how to locate a device in Find My using iCloud. And now it's my turn. And let me see if I can do this effectively. We're going to talk for a minute. Well, let's see. Before I do that, I'm going to stop sharing and see if I can get my poll questions activated again. So everybody hang on for me for 1 minute. Hey, Monique or Sue, do you see the ability to to publish the poll questions that I set up, or are those only available to me as the meeting organizer? You don't see them, Sue? Okay, and
I don't see them. I'm not sure where would they be.
there would be a separate option in the tool tray at the bottom of your Zoom window that says poll questions.
No, I don't have them.
Okay.
Only you, Todd.
Only me. Hang on, let me see if I can get around that, and if I can't, we'll skip them. We really just sort of wanted to refresh on what topics people here are interested in learning more about. And I'm not really able to hit them. So I tell you what, as I go through backups, I don't want to lose your attention, but if you've got a minute to put 1 or 2 or 3 different things into the chat window that you're interested in learning more about, we'll use the chat window in lieu of these darn poll questions that aren't appearing for me. Does that make sense? Does that work out for you guys? Just type in shorthand, whether it's we already did some preliminary querying, and we got feedback that says that some of you want to learn more about the Notes app, some want to learn more about calendars and reminders, syncing your data, talk to type. So we're going to try to squeeze some of those in at the end. But if there are others that you'd like to learn about, lob them in there. We'll do our best to sort of sort prioritization based on that. So that said, let me try again now to get back to sharing my iPhone. 848. Give me 1 second. 5175.
While Todd's doing that, I can skip ahead and ask you guys about apps. I'm curious if anybody has any apps that they like that help them specifically with the Parkinson's. I don't want to share my screen. What are you doing?
That's me.
Oh, that's you. I thought it was my daughter.
Falsely busted. Yeah, I just asked that for them to put them into the chat, but we can. I tell you what. Now that I've got the screen up, let's do this for a second, Monique, and then let's come back to.
Oh yeah, of course. I didn't know how long you're going to be. So.
Yeah, hard to know with me sometimes. But yeah, in the meantime, as I said a minute ago, if you folks would like to put into the chat window some inkling of what applications you'd like to learn more about, that would be great. Well, for some reason now it's not moving forward. Come on, Zoom.
So Michelle asked about the calendar. And so my question then is, there's anything specific about the calendar?
Very general.
General, okay.
How the heck do you do it?
And then we have a control butt dials. Well, I'm gonna have to refer to the 16-year-old on that one.
I mean, I show butt dial a lot, so I don't know if I'm gonna be. Just turn your phone off. Yeah, anytime you're done with your phone and you put it in your pocket, just turn your phone off so you don't leave it open and have the possibility of opening phone and accidentally calling someone. If you turn it off, you can't be able to go into your phone without a passcode or a Face ID.
Right.
So you're locking the phone.
Yeah. So
You're
you just lock it or let it. It'll go off automatically sometimes, or you can press the button.
Yeah. Which one is it? Which one is that, Natalie?
What?
Which model is that?
I have the iPhone 8, so I have the button and like the
Mhm.
one thing.
Yeah, I can tell you that the one challenge with that is with the 11s and above that no longer have the home button. The way you turn your screen on is just tapping anywhere with your skin. So any finger tapping anywhere on the screen opens. I mean, it also opens up the passcode if you're passcode protected, or face recognition if you're using that.
So
But-
that's actually our problem. I have a iPhone 11. I'm Ben Johnson. I'm Paula's husband.
Hi, Ben.
And I have an 11 and she has the XR. Anyway, it seems to have a hair trigger. It seems to be hyper sensitive, where it's not even really a butt dial. I've
Mhm.
had it dial somebody just setting the phone flat on the table, or
Mhm.
I'm not even sure what set it off, but I don't, and I'm just wondering if there's a way to reduce the sensitivity to that, because I mean, it can be really annoying.
Yeah, that's a good question. I do know what you're getting at. And I mean, I frequently, while I'm holding my phone and using it, and I know I'm done using it, I'm about to put it in my pocket, I will hit the power button like Monique and Natalie just said, and it turns the screen off. But honestly, in the path between holding it up here in front of me and putting it in my pocket, my finger easily touches the screen somewhere and turns the screen back on. And if you've got, if you don't use a passcode and you've got the most recent dialed number up there, you start butt dialing your son or your mom or your dad and your buddy. And so, or if you just reach into your pocket later on, an hour later, for your car keys, and you touch your phone, and the same thing can happen. So I'm willing to look into that, Ben, and see if there are sensitivities around that sort of wake up the screen with a touch of your finger, see if there's controls around it.
It's gotten to be a real issue for us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. Yeah.
Sometimes they're releasing technology so fast that they think is so neat, but they don't do enough usability around it to find out what the problems might be. And I think that feature is one of them.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Paula with her Parkinson's and some tremor, it can be particularly a problem because
Right.
She can touch the wrong spot, I guess.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to.
Just real quick before we move on,
Yep.
at the end of the presentation, I was going to go over some of the accessibility features that have touch accommodations.
Yeah.
And I think some of them might help with the
Could be in
button.
there. Okay, we'll check that. We have a lot more to cover, and sadly, we're only an hour in. So, I mean, we only have 30 minutes left. So I'll try to race through this. I'll keep it at sort of a high level. We're talking now about backing up your devices. So if your data that's on your phone is important to you, and if you would further also be crushed if you lost that data, whether you lose the phone too, or maybe the phone gets dunked in the ocean or whatever, and they can't resurrect the data, then you should consider backing up your data. So if you fall into those categories and you're also not suffering from the sort of pain to gain model I mentioned, which is a lot to learn with not enough gain, benefit at the end of the day, then let's walk through that really quickly. So this is my phone that's up in front of you right now. And there are 3 ways that one can back up their iPhones through that I know of. I mean, sort of paths, if you will. One is directly from your iPhone up to the cloud. We'll do that in a minute here. One is from your iPhone to your laptop or desktop, whether that's wired or through your wireless connection at home. And the other is from your iPhone to your desktop and ultimately into the cloud. So it's a 3-way routing. So I hope that's not too confusing. Those are just sort of high-level paths that one can use to back up their data. I'm going to go into the settings app like Monique was. So you see my top there is my name and the Apple ID and iCloud, etc. I'm going to go into that because then I'm going to go down to iCloud. You see that sort of midway down there. I'm tapping on that. I bring you here first because I want you to see that this is where your storage, if you're using the iCloud like I am, I had to recently upgrade to a 2 terabyte data storage. So you see a lot of availability across the top there. I don't know if you can see my cursor showing you what I'm pointing at, but it also shows you with color coordination what types of data you're using up on your phone. But you can also then tap on manage storage to get more storage if you want. Storage is cheap, but it's yet another way that they ding you for $2.99 a month or $9.99 a month for more iCloud storage. So keep that in mind. But let me see.
99 cents.
Yeah, 99 cents is their lowest for a gigabyte or something like that, isn't it?
Right.
So I just scrolled up from down to up, and you see that there's near the bottom now of my screen is the iCloud backup. And it's indicated right now that that is on. I'm going to tap on that. And this just has a brief, option to turn off iCloud backup if you don't want to back up to the cloud anymore, or the ability to tap backup now. I'm not going to tap on that right now because it may take up a little bandwidth on my phone, and I'd like to be navigating around different directions. But that is the fastest, easiest way for any of us to back up their data. And then Monique had a screenshot of going into iCloud, your iCloud account on a web browser, whether that's on your laptop or desktop or another iPhone device. But that's where you could go to identify the data that you're uploading and storing in the cloud, and you can manage how much storage you buy from Apple. You can also manage restoring that data back down to a new device from that whole website. It's a very handy website. So those of you that don't know your Apple ID, trust us that you have one. And so if you don't know what your Apple ID is, it's like Monique was indicating earlier, it's sort of your key into all things Apple, whether it's iTunes or movies that you want to buy. You're going to need, or you want to program in your credit card for that kind of thing going forward. If you don't have your Apple ID, find someone that has helped you configure your devices, your laptops, your Apple devices in the past, and let's get that Apple ID of yours stowed somewhere safely in the home so you can refer back to it now and then. Okay, so that's the quickest possible way to back up. Now I'm going to stop sharing my screen here on the phone. I'm going to come back here and share screen with you on my desktop, and I'm going to show you how, if I can find it, how to at least understand and navigate around backups on when I'm the other two backup types. So the first one that I indicated was iPhone direct to iCloud, which we just did out of the settings feature. I'll show you now. The next two are iPhone to back up to your desktop. So you're not using the iCloud, you're using your desktop to stow all of your contacts and your text messages and your emails. You can decide what all things that you want to back up, and I'll show you that in a minute too. And then we'll get some sidebar discussions about music and things like that too. But let me go back to where I was a minute ago. So this is called the Finder app, and PCs is called PC Explorer. But in the Finder app, I've got all the different sources of all my data on the left here, and then now they've got a new section as of a big release recently where they'll show you the locations or the other devices that you might have plugged in or within range. So here's my iPhone that's now currently plugged in with a cable at my desktop here. I show you this because, yes, I know that. Because this is the view of everything Todd's iPhone, nicknamed Timo. So everything Todd's iPhone has a general tab, has a music tab, movies, TV shows, neither of which I use too much, podcasts, audiobooks, books, photos, files, info. Back to general. So this tells me a lot about my iPhone, which you can also find in your iPhone itself. But now that my iPhone is plugged into my desktop, it tells me that I'm on iOS 14.7.1. My iPhone software is up to date, so I don't need to worry about doing any updates. But then there's a section here in the middle. I think you can see my mouse now and see where I'm indicating, where it gives you help on or information on backups. So the first option is backup your most important data on your iPhone to the cloud. What I'm not too sure about here, and I'll confess, is that I don't know how to selectively back up data to the iCloud. I think there's a setting, there's either a setting somewhere deeper or information somewhere that says what to Apple is my most important data. How are they determining what my most important data is? Usually when you want to back up other things, it gives you a selection of on and off switches. Like, do you want to back up notes? Yes. Do you want to back up contacts? Yes. Do you want to back up email? No, etc. But let's keep going down through these options so you're familiar with them. Does anybody on this call, you can show us by a show of hands, using either backup, using backup at all? I don't see everybody right now, so I'm not sure if we're getting some yeses. Is anybody using iCloud backup?
I got notified my iCloud is full.
So you would be in that category of needing to go get yourself some more storage data, some more storage space from them.
My kids keep telling me I don't need it.
Got it. Okay. Well, let me keep going. Again, I'm not going to do an actual backup. Well, I can start one just so you can see how the process unfolds. The other option just below the cloud option. So the first radio button here, that's called a radio button. The second one is backup all of the data on your iPhone to this Mac. I use that one and the cloud personally. I've got a big external hard drive behind this laptop because I have a whole lot of music. So all of the music and my family photos and things are logged on this laptop. And so I back up some of that to the cloud, and I back up everything else to this big 8 terabyte hard drive plugged into the back of my iMac. So so I would hit this to back up to my Mac, and it also tells you, by the way, when your last backup is. So last backup to iCloud today at 12:29. Now, if I click on this radio button, which is back up all data to this Mac, then I can do that easily. It doesn't tell me when my last backup was for that, but I would just hit backup now. But before I do that and start the process rolling, so you can see what that looks like, I want to show you the rest of this. So you can also use this area. And by the way, this is a high-tech advanced feature, which is to encrypt your local backup. So that just means if you're that nervous about the data that you got on your iPhone, and you're backing it up to this laptop, you can encrypt it, which means it gives it an access protection that somebody, keeps the bad guys from getting into it. But I don't use it, and I think very few. I think that's sort of a power user feature. But you can also restore, if you get a new phone, this is where you would probably come to restore a backup from a previous phone. So I can restore backup, and it says, would you like to restore the one from 8/12/158 or any of these other backups that have been done over the past months? So, and then it gives you a handful of options for backing up. Prefer standard definition. These are pretty techy and advanced also. I don't know if anybody here on this call is syncing their music to their phone. If you are, maybe we'll have a separate breakout session another time for that, because that's fun and useful. I've got a pretty large open data set on my iPhone, so that I can use a lot of music. You see this indicator down at the bottom of how much of my storage on my iPhone directly is audio. It's 194 gigabytes, and then a little bit in photos, a little bit in apps, and a little bit in documents. So you can see that down at the bottom. Everybody following that where I am at the bottom of my screen? Okay. So that's pretty much it. And then it's really just about clicking on backup now to start your backup. So there are ways, and I think we can get into this deeper if folks get learning more about backups. There are ways to schedule a backup so that you don't have to manually do it. And B, schedule it so that it runs over your Wi-Fi so that you don't have to walk downstairs or upstairs to plug it into the cable. And then also control what data you want synced or backed up. So if, like I was saying earlier, there's a row of on-off buttons that say if you want to back up your notes and your data and your calendar and things like that, you can say which of those you want back. So that's a little bit more advanced, but that is the gist of it there. Let's do this. I'm gonna stop sharing and we'll go back. I mean, I'm gonna keep sharing, but we'll go back to the PowerPoint so everybody can catch up where we are, and let's keep driving forward, huh, Monique? All right, so what I think we'll do, let's see if I've got the chat open and we can see what folks are saying about what they want to learn more about. Calendar, okay, fair enough. We've got that. So these are the top 3 winners from the earlier polling we did to folks. Recommendations on med reminder apps. Okay, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Will control butt dials. I think we just covered that a little bit. There's a lot more that can be done on that, and I think we need to get folks a little more information on where to click to go find sensitivity controls like that. And another request on calendar. So, and then another request was talk to type. So while I've got my phone here, Monique, why don't I do at least talk to type for folks, if I can do that. And then I'll move over and share, and then you can take a little pass on calendars like we talked about earlier. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen, my phone. Well, mine is being particularly irritating about connecting my phone to share with you guys. So I'm going to walk through it verbally for a minute. There are 2 features I use, one daily, hourly. The other one I'm using more and more, but getting new. It's new to me, and I'm getting better at it. Both of them are sort of in the talk to type category, and I use the term talk to type. Others use voice to type. There's a couple other terms out there. I'm not even frankly sure what Apple's branded term is. So we'll go with talk to type. And if you see anywhere in an app, a small microphone icon. Has anybody used talk to type and know what I'm talking about? Michelle, okay, and maybe Karen and Sarah, great. So it's the ability to, you see how shaky these are, right? And it gets really frustrating to type on the keyboard and to type into your phone any messaging. So I use the little icon, and let me use email and texting as an example. And that is, there's a little icon at the bottom of the keyboard, at the bottom right of the keyboard. If you all have your phones handy and you would like to go into the text app, we'll do this sort of voice to voice instead of, oh, look what's decided to show up.
Yeah.
That's ours.
Oh, that's yours. Oh, good for you. Right on. You're so cool. Okay, so tap in there. Let's see at the bottom right, everybody. See that little microphone icon? It's an old school microphone icon. Now, Natalie or Monique, tap on your microphone icon. But before you do, you have to understand that as soon as you tap on that microphone icon, it's going to start listening to everything around you. So if you're not in a quiet room,
Hello.
So there you go. Very nice. Good. So that was no typing involved. You can't see Monique's thumbs and what she's doing, but she basically tapped on the little microphone icon at the bottom and said hello, and then tapped on the send button. So now, what's up? Ooh, autocomplete, we like that. Oh, wow. Good, very good. Okay, you're getting advanced, you little messengers, you. Okay, so the other one, which is similar to talk to type that I hinted at, that's new to me, is the recorded voice memo embedded in an app. By the way, before we tap on that one though, Monique, this little microphone icon that we just used it as a sample to say hello, and that typed it out in the space, is available in lots of other apps that require typing, like email. I do a lot of email on my phone, but I couldn't possibly survive the frustrations of doing it with these tremors. And so I'm always using the little microphone button in email. I just hold the phone up to me. I make sure that nobody's going to be saying bad things in my recording, and I just say, hey, hey Matt, how's the gig going in SoCal? And so I send him a quick email like that.
Hey, Todd.
Todd, how do you turn it off?
Good question. You just tap on it again. So do that one more time, Monique, and then tap the microphone. So do you see the keyboard icon at the bottom there? Whoever just asked that question. You tap on that to go back to keyboard, or you just tap your finger back in the screen above the recording bar. You tap back in the, so now she's got a subject email to me, hey Todd. And now she's got the recording mechanism on. If she just taps anywhere in the typing field above, it'll also take that recording option away. You guys want to try that real quick, or should we move on?
Just make sure you proofread it, because I get some very weird interpretations.
Yeah. So this is a utility also like the Find My application. This is another Apple utility that they make available and give away for free on all their operating systems. In the past, it's been rather crappy and more like 60 or 70% accurate. I got diagnosed in 2017 and I started needing it then. And I was using my desktop version. On the desktop, if anybody cares, if you double tap the FN key, FN for function, it brings up the same feature. So I'm sitting here, twitching away at my desktop, not typing on the keyboard, easily 50% less than I used to, because I'm able to go double tap on the FN key and start dictating my message to the email app or to the text app. But yeah, it's more like 90+% accurate now, whereas it used to be much less so. I'm much more satisfied with it now than I was 5
Yeah,
years ago.
it's gotten better.
Got better, hasn't it, Lori?
Yeah.
So anybody sitting on an Apple laptop or desktop, if you look for that lowercase f, lowercase n, like Frank Nancy, that double tapping that brings up the same feature. Anyway, sorry, Monique, go back into say messages or email for a second.
No, thanks, Todd, that was helpful.
Yeah, good. The other version of something like that is recorded voice memos, which are embedded in some apps. So do you see the little squiggly lines in the message bar next to where Monique's cursor is blinking? There you go. You tap and hold that, you can actually speak words into the app and it will make a short recording clip of your actual voice of what you said. And then you hit stop and you hit send, and it sends that recorded memo to whoever you're sending the text to.
Would you mind repeating that?
Not at all. Do you see the little squiggly sort of radio icon to the right of Monique's blinking blue cursor on the screen?
Yes.
It's in grayscale right now, right?
Correct.
So if she taps on that, like she just did, she gets an indicator of tap and hold to leave your message. And then you literally start talking to your phone and you say, hi, Mom, I'll be out for lunch in an hour. And it's 12 o'clock right now, period.
Wow.
And then that is sending that very brief recording. It's not transcribing those words like the other feature is.
It's transcribing your voice.
Your actual recorded voice, what you just said to her.
Oh, thank you.
So that's kind of
good to know.
My daughter's taught me that one. And you use that one much, Natalie? Are you still around?
Yeah. I don't use it as much as I should, but I'm gonna probably start using it. Also, the little like play button on the bottom, I don't know if you guys can see it. If you press that, it'll play back to you and you can hear what you said. And then if you don't like what you said or whatever, you can press the X button and redo it if you want to.
Cool.
And
Good.
then and then the send button.
Where is the play button?
It's right. You see that kind of gray, weird circle era thing on the the play? It's like a triangle. See the triangle and the white circle?
Yes, I do.
That's the play button. So if you press that, it'll play back and you can hear what you said.
So you would hear back. You see that it's an 8-second recording there, right, Lori?
Yes.
And you can kill it without even listening to it by pressing the X on the left.
And that gets rid of it.
That gets rid of it. Or you can send it instantly without listening to it by tapping the send button. Or as Natalie was saying, you can play it to preview by hitting the play button and then send later.
So Todd, sorry, how did you bring that up again?
This is another feature that's sort of embedded in a handful of different Apple tools, and it's called the Memo voice. It's called the Voice Memo. In fact, if you don't mind, Monique, let's back out and we'll go to the actual app itself for 2 seconds and show people. So you can swipe down to do a search and do voice. There you go. See voice memos. So she typed in voice, or started to type in voice, and found voice memos. So this is the primary software app that they use, but they enable that little icon in different typing apps like email, text, notes.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, not so much notes, I don't think, but certainly in text. So these are some of the, you can take your own voice memos anytime you want in the voice memo app. But you can also use the voice recording feature from this app that's embedded in text, for example, to send a voice recording to your recipient. Does that make sense,
What?
Ben?
thank you. That's
I'm
very
not quite
useful.
seeing how you bring that up if you're in messages or.
Yeah, so now, sorry, Monique, but let's bounce back to your main home screen so Ben can see that we're just going into the apps.
Yeah, but before we do that, I want to just point out that you can also just use this by itself like a recorder. Remember an old fashioned like recorder?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you look down here, Natalie monologue from 2016. She did a monologue and I recorded it.
Ah,
Oh, I think we should play that.
But like if you want to record something, like your granddaughter is singing a song and you
Yeah.
don't want to video it, but you just want to record it. See the big red dot at the bottom? That's just record. You could just record something.
So you've lost me again.
Okay.
What did I put in the search?
Well,
I'm in settings. What did you put in the search?
I didn't go to settings. I went to the global search.
Right.
So if you go to the global search and you look for voice memos.
And it won't work in settings.
I don't think it's in settings.
No,
I don't know where to get to the global search.
let's do this. Let's do this, Michelle. Can you swipe all the way left? Swipe, swipe, swipe until you get to the far left, and you should get a search option.
All right.
And so if you
I forget to use that feature.
Okay.
you see
It
this,
So
might-
what happened?
It might also be, I just found it on mine under a folder called utilities. But I made that? Yeah, okay, never mind.
So
It's on-
voice,
It could just be on there already.
voice memo.
Mhm.
voice
It
memos.
came
Yes.
on my phone.
Yeah,
Yeah. Another one of those Apple freebies.
Oh,
So should I press use voice memos app?
So
Yeah.
tap on that, Michelle, and you can see what Monique just opened, and there's all of her recordings. So she's done quite a few.
but I can tap on the red dot to record. So I can record this conversation right now.
I'm just trying to figure out how to get it to
So hit play, Monique, and you can show.
access it.
Oh, you got your phone plugged in, so it's going through the computer.
Yeah, and then you can delete it.
Use voice memo apps.
So you're just looking for the app itself. You're not looking for instructions on how to use it. You're just looking for it. So you
Yeah.
could also just scroll through your phone and see if you can find it. It's this.
I've
It's this
got
right
use
here.
voice. Under utilities, huh?
So I encourage you guys all, as you're clinging to follow along with some of this, and it's interesting or remotely so, at least, to take down some notes of things that you'd like to learn more about, because we can
I'm
focus
doing that.
we can focus future sessions on this, and then we've got another idea that we'll bring up in a few minutes here. So we've got
That's great.
6:25 right now, but I want to make sure Ben's question gets answered. Monique, a quick favor, go to home. So Ben, watch what Monique does here from her home page, because I want to answer your question about where the talk to type microphone is. So now you see her texting app in the lower right-hand corner with the 18 messages in her text app on the screen here.
Well, that's my phone. Do you want me to open up?
Oh,
the
yeah.
text?
Yeah.
So that's her texting app. So Monique, let's go to texting. So now that brings up what she left with, Ben, which is a message between her and Natalie. So
Right.
now her cursor is blinking in the iMessage field that she can enter. She can either type in "Hi Natalie" or she can use the little icon on the bottom right, very bottom right of the screen. Can you see the little microphone icon? That one.
Mm,
What one?
mm.
So it's on the very bottom right, under the word return.
Oh, yeah, okay, right, I see it.
Okay, that
That's-
doesn't, oh,
That's your little friend. I mean, won't be the thing that saves you so many finger taps. You're gonna thank us. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, some of us, by the way, with the PD voice challenges may bump into issues of it not understanding us. So I don't have a solution for that. I'm sorry to say, but try it and see how
Yes.
accurate it is for you.
Well,
And
since
how do you stop it then?
Well, you just
Red button.
You just tap it.
tap the keyboard icon. Once the microphone icon throws up its little recording indicator, it's being replaced by a keyboard icon. So you tap the keyboard
Right.
icon and it brings back your keyboard.
Okay, cool, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. We like cools.
Yeah.
All right, Monique, I'm going to keep leveraging your shared screen since my phone is not sharing cooperatively. You want to do a quick walkthrough of calendars? We've got 5 more minutes here, so I want to make sure we get.
yeah, I could do the calendar, but can I just go over a couple things right now while I'm
Sure.
here? I don't think we're gonna get to it, but I just want to point them out.
For sure.
So if you go into settings, remember where we were here?
Mhm.
There's some really handy features here. The first one is the display and brightness. You guys probably already have this set up. But I highly recommend, if you don't, that you consider changing your text size. This is really easy to do. And you can just use the slider at the bottom to make the text size get bigger or smaller.
Yeah, that's an important one.
Yeah,
It's
so
very
that's
important.
really important. I just want to make sure that everybody has that.
Can we get a show of hands of people that are not using, that have the original text size on their iPhone screens? I'm one. I need to make mine bigger. I know that. Rob too.
Yeah, it's really nice. And there's also a bold feature, which allows everything to get to bold, which is really great. And then there's a display zoom feature where you can set it to standard or zoomed.
And what does that mean?
It just sort of zooms everything in. You can sort of see how it's demonstrating it on the screen on the right.
Everything is slightly larger.
Large. So you can see, you might have less things that you can see, but they're just sort of bigger. So
Thank you.
those are some really basic, great things under settings. The next thing, we won't have time to go into it, but under accessibility, where there's a little blue one with the person, if you click here, there's some great features here. One is the magnifier. My dad loves that one. But the other one, particularly for Parkinson's, is the one that says touch. So under physical and motor, there's one that says touch. And there's a couple really great things in here. One is assistive touch. We don't have time to go on into that, but it allows you to put a home screen button on your phone. So see that little button that just showed up on the left?
Yeah.
That functions now for me like a home screen.
That's brilliant.
So we don't have time to go into that, but that's something that you could explore. The big thing is under touch accommodations. If you click on touch accommodations, there's 3 features here that are really great. And one of them might be helpful, Ben, for the butt dialing. I'm not sure, but if you click on the top button, it says touch accommodations.
Yeah.
That allows you to sort of do the rest of them. But for the one thing, the first one is hold duration. So if you click on hold duration, it basically lets you adjust how long you need to touch the screen before it recognizes the touch.
Oh,
So if you're, if you commonly make really quick touches like this,
Yeah,
it will say, no, don't do that. You have to actually hold it down for 2 seconds before I know what that means.
oh, so that might do it.
That might be one of them. And when we're done with this screen and we back up by one, there's another one on Haptic Touch for there, but we'll go back to that. So what else?
Yeah,
you
and then
see?
there's ignore repeat, which isn't letting me click on it for some reason. Let's see what's going on here.
The whole duration shuts it off.
Oh,
Huh, my phone is freezing on me. What is happening? Huh. Ignore repeat. If you click on that one, it does the same thing, but it allows it registers multiple touches as a single touch. So if you're doing like repeated, if you have a habit of doing like repeated touches, it'll, rather than just keep doing that same action over and over, it'll just say, okay, that was meant to be just one touch.
Right. For us tremory typers, if we tap, the word, the letter A 13 times, it'll take it just once.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry we don't have more time to go into those, but
Great.
I really wanted to make sure that I showed you where those were so you could go back and explore them on your own.
Yeah,
Thank
before
you.
you shut your phone off there, Monique, go back one back screen, if you would.
Okay, haptic touch.
Yeah, so there's, by the way, first one is tap to wake down there. I think if you wanted to turn tap to wake off, then the scenario I raised, Ben, which is I'm done using my phone and I reach it to put it in my pocket, but as I'm doing so, my thumb hits the screen and turns it back on.
right.
That's tap to awake, right? Or tap to wake. Monique just turned her tap to wake off, as you see on the screen there. So that means when you take your phone out of your pocket, you don't tap the screen on the 11s and above. You would basically have to use a side button, the power button, to tap it once to awaken your screen, which takes the butt dialing chance down lower, right? The risks of butt
Oh,
dialing.
good point.
And then haptic touch is basically haptic is their term for when you touch on the screen and it gives you a vibratory sort of response. That's the haptic response. But anyway, I don't.
And you can also undo the shape to undo. So I know many of you have seen that come up where it undoes something automatically when you shake it. You guys know about the shake to undo?
Oh yeah, all too well.
Right, you can undo the shape to undo.
That's a PD special right there.
Yeah, so touch is really a great place to go for people with Parkinson's.
But while we're on this, and before we log off, because we're 2 or 3 minutes beyond, I just got to say there's a world of improvements hiding under just the settings app. So, I mean, if you guys have 15 minutes of quiet time on the couch someday and you've got your phone and nobody else to chat with, go into settings and be careful that when you turn something on and you don't like it, you go back and turn it off, or vice versa. But go into settings, and it's a virtual tree of options. I mean, you may have under settings 15 or 20 different menu items that you could tap on. So there's Monique's got accessibility. And then when you go into one of those, that's got 10 or 15 options. And then you go into that one and that's got 10 or 15 options. So, you do the math and you've got just a lot to learn about under settings. And some of it's high-techy or power user type features that none of us really can benefit from or care for, especially in the pain to gain model. But some of it's like really cool gotcha aha features, like the magnifier and the roaming home button and things like that, and display and brightness and home screen. So get familiar with your settings app and get familiar with with all the wealth of knowledge that's hiding underneath that. Well, there was a ton more that we had hoped to cover. We wanted to go into calendars more. I mean, if anybody would like to stick around for an extra 5 minutes, we can do calendaring. We did talk to type. I can do notes. People are interested in notes. If I tell you what, if folks need to bounce off, go ahead and bounce off, but I will commit to myself sticking. Well, my problem is my phone is not accepting screen share capabilities.
I can say, Todd.
Can you stay, really? Oh, that's awesome. Okay. All right. So then let's take a minute, and Monique, let's you and I talk for a minute about calendars. That was one of the things.
People that need to get off, do we want to touch base at all about like next steps if people would be interested in.
Yeah. Yeah, why don't you unshare for 2 seconds and I'll reshare, and we'll just go to that slide real quick so that when they find the deck on pdactive.org, they can zoom right to this last slide. All right. So there were a whole bunch of other neat things we wanted to show you about, little fun bar tricks like taking a screenshot if you don't know how to do that. Using global search we covered, using Siri, adjusting the view and size text, we did that a little bit, turning tracking on off, navigation app folders. But what we really want you to know is that we thank you.
We thank
We
you.
want you to know is,
We thank you. Yeah.
oh, you're nice, thank you. That Monique found a couple web links for apps for people with PD. Now,
Yeah.
I know a few of them out there, and she's got one example cited on the right here. She used a screenshot of Calm, which is very cool. I have Calm. I don't use it as much as I use. Oh gosh, now I'm blanking. What is the other?
Headspace.
Headspace. Thank you. Good job. I just didn't. Yeah, I have a year subscription to that because I was using it so much at one point. But check out these links. I'm not going to click on them now, but these are really applicable to PD folks. For example, they've got medication reminders, symptom trackers, exercise plans, and brain training. Brain training is key, by the way, as an adjunct here for all of us, right? To be trained cognitively, to keep using the brain, and keep firing
Yes.
skills, right? So find games on the App Store that you think would be interesting. Ask your kids and your grandkids what games they like, and ask them to show you what games they use that you think you might be interested in. There are a lot of them. I'm a little bit addicted to Words with Friends, and it's basically Scrabble, but on my iPhone. It's awesome. So I'm constantly thinking when I'm using that game. There's a handful of others. I really wish I'd spent more time on this page detailing some of those options. But these links are where you can go to find out more apps that are out there. And another time, maybe we'll show you how to download apps if you don't know how to do that. If I was able to sync my phone screen with you guys right now, you can see all the plethora of garbage, some of which is garbage, apps that I have on my phone. And then we could talk about how to clean your phone and how to categorize apps into folders. Anyway, but quickly, there's a personal tech support resource out there that I've used, and I asked him if I could share his name and contact info with you guys. And of course I put his name here, but I didn't put his cell phone or his voicemail, cell phone or his email. That was remiss. So his name is Kyle. Kyle lives in the Berkeley area. He's an ace at all things Apple and actually at all things PC. So if you've got either problems with either of your platforms at home in the PC world or in the Apple world, he's not terribly cheap, but he's got a great bedside manner. Get up there. And he'll throw in a little discount if you mention PD Active. So I promise to get you the contact info for Kyle. And if there are others that we learn about, we'll include those. This is just sort of a last minute insert of one that we knew about. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
anybody?
I have his numbers if you want them right now.
Oh, you do? Great. Well, throw them out. I don't have them in front of me.
415-259-4112 is his mobile.
Great. How did you know?
Forget that. You should check it because my other notation says use this with another.
Okay. Well, here, in the meantime, I've gone and found it here. So let me pull it up.
510-299-0243.
Kyle Linen is, yes, you got it right. 510-299-0243 is his mobile. 510-299-0243. And then his email is the NCG, or neighborhood computer guy, the NCG @mac.com. And again, I will put that into this deck before we publish it onto the website. So it'll be in there when you see it next. All right. Well, we chewed up a little extra time on that too now. So Monique, do you want to share and talk calendars for 5 minutes and then we'll wrap?
Sure.
Okay, I'll stop.
My own. I'm not sure exactly what to do. Okay. You can see my screen.
Yep.
So I'll just, I mean, I'm not sure what exactly we would like to talk about with calendars, but I can show you kind of generally how I use my calendars. I use the native app calendars. I don't necessarily use the Google Calendar. Oh, it's also big now. I think I adjusted
You changed your settings.
my settings a little bit. So for example, there's different views on the calendar. On the top right, you can use the list view like this, click on it, or you can go to the calendar view. It really is a personal preference on what you would like to do.
And you've got it in a day view right now. You can
I
do
have it in the day view, yeah. And I think the easiest thing to know is that, if you click on the plus sign at the top right, it can help you add an event. So let's say, I want to add a doctor's appointment. I will add the event, what it's called. You can actually add a location if you want. I don't use that feature very often, but if you have an address for a meeting, you can put it in there.
The neat thing I'll interject about using an exact location, and you saw as Monique typed in the location field, it brings up most recently used locations. But the neat thing about that is it's the day of the event, and if it's a doctor's appointment across town and it's a new doctor, you open up the calendar app and you open up that event and you tap on the address and it brings up maps for you, and it maps the route to your location. So they all the apps, especially the Apple apps, and this is another one of those freebies that comes with the Apple iOS. They're all interlinked and they all talk to each other. So tapping on an event in an app, an address in an event in an app will take you to the Maps app, for example. Very handy.
Yes, extremely handy. And you can also set the time for the event by going here to starts. You click on that and it'll allow you to set the time that the event. So you click on the time and then you can just sort of put in the new time. And then if you sort of scroll down, it'll be with the end. You can do the end the time. So let's just it defaults, I think, to an hour usually if you don't put an end time. Default. A feature that I often use is the all day task. So if you have a task that you need to do on a certain day, but you don't have a time for it, you can toggle that to all day and it'll just mark it as an all day task. You can also use the reminders. We could talk about that another time. There's reminders that aren't attached to the calendar for things that you need to do at certain times and at certain days. The nice thing about the calendar app here is that you can also set a repeat for it. So this is on never, but if I click here, I can set the same event every day. So if I need to feed my goldfish, I can set it for 7 a.m. every day. Or if I want to do something every week. So say I want to back up my computer every week, I can click every week. And then it'll set that all day reminder for that same day, Saturday, every week. I often use this for birthdays. So I set it every year. So I go in here and I'll say,
God's birthday.
I'll say it's the dog's birthday.
Great. Now I know where I rank.
Bet.
And you use the all day for that, obviously. So then.
Exactly. And then I'll have that be set yearly. And then you can end the repeat if you want, but I usually leave it on never. You can also invite people to join to these calendar events, which is nice. You can also, this is a really nice feature, which is the alert. So it'll alert you and send you a reminder about this event. So you can do it on the day of the event, one day before, or 1 week before.
So are you using a different calendar? I mean, I'm not seeing all this stuff on my calendar.
are you looking at the native calendar,
The Apple Calendar, Ben?
Apple?
Can you see that?
Yeah, that's-
Vaguely, it looks like it's not the Google Calendar. So you're in the year view or 6-month view.
yeah, so
Yeah,
this,
so is that the view you have, Ben,
Yeah,
on the screen right now?
so what you want to do is
yeah,
you want to just click, see the highlighted 17
yes.
on yours? You can just click
on it.
that and it'll go to that day.
It's not doing it.
About going to today.
Show us your screen again for 2 seconds. So you've still got all the months out there, but you do have one red highlighted number, like Natalie was saying. Do you see that? Are you able to tap that and see if it opens up your day view?
Mhm.
Not,
Do you have the word today in the bottom left corner by any chance?
yes.
You
Oh,
can
good.
click that too. If you press that, it'll bring you to today also.
Okay.
Did that work?
Well, then I get, says no events.
Yeah, that means you have nothing going on.
So you
Yeah,
have
Add
so
it.
nothing scheduled in your calendar.
Oh,
Have you
so
been?
to add, then, oh, I see. Then you just click on the plus.
The
Yeah,
plus.
and you just add whatever event you want to add.
Plus is a common symbol for adding anything in other apps also.
Okay.
yeah.
I
So
have a,
if you want to test it, you could try, putting in an event every morning at 8 o'clock, like, feed the dog or something.
Yeah,
And then it'll show up every day on your calendar at 8 o'clock.
Will it send you an alarm or will it send you a notice?
that's what the alerts were that Monique was just looking at. Yeah.
so I had a question about the alerts. What form of alert does it take?
You can configure either in most of these calendar apps, you can configure it to alert you either in a text or an email or both, or a pop-up notification on your screen. It'll drop down from the top of your screen saying, don't forget to feed the dog. It's almost, it's almost 8 o'clock. If you set your
Right.
come up 15 minutes beforehand, then at 7:45, you'll get a little screen notification that drops down on the top of your iPhone that says feed the dog in 15 minutes.
Okay, does it make a noise because if you're not looking at your phone,
You
you're not
can't.
going to see it?
Also,
You can actually, if you go to settings,
yeah.
under notifications, so I'm in settings, remember? And if you go to notifications, that's
Mhm.
where you control the notification styles.
Yep.
Okay.
You can do different sounds. So like if you have reminders, you can have a certain sound. You can have your phone calls have a different sound, so you can have it be silent. You can do it however you'd like, actually.
And where do you get to choose whether it's Google or some other kind of calendar?
Good question.
Question.
So I have mine set up from a long time ago. So I think if you go to the bottom, in the middle, on the bottom where it says calendars,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's where you set up your calendars.
So you
So
add calendar at the bottom there.
yeah,
Google Calendar is an actual app. That's what I use. You can download an app that is Google Calendar and it's separate from this calendar.
Right.
Okay.
does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I have my Google Calendar
Syncing.
set up to read this calendar, to be on this calendar, because I don't like the Google app.
You can
So-
basically configure it, the events from one calendar. If you're using the Apple Calendar mostly, but for certain reasons or for certain groups, you're using Google Calendars, you can have those events ported automatically into your Apple Calendar.
And can you say for a minute what you don't like about the Google Calendar, Monique?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
I love it.
I don't know. Most people like it. I just don't use it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I'm in favor. I think the Apple Calendar has come a long ways, and I think it's caught up in most cases to the features that Google Calendar had a while ago. So I think they're both comparable right now.
Yeah.
And Apple's design will always win over almost any other software developer. So
Yeah,
that-
I love I love the Apple Calendar.
Yeah.
But so but I do have my Gmail calendars up here, and I will
Yeah.
say those are great because you can see I have all these shared calendars that are color coordinated. So for example, the green one is the calendar with my ex-husband, because we
Okay.
share kids things, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then the Gabriel calendar, that's my new husband. And so we have our own shared calendar. And then I have a calendar with my son and all that. So you can have, and if it's checked, it means it's showing. So do you see how on my calendar I have different colors?
Yes.
That's because those are in different calendars.
Oh,
And so you can go back to calendars and you can actually uncheck, which ones you want to show. So if I uncheck the green one, you see that?
Mhm.
Then I go back here and the green ones are gone.
Right.
So
So
you can
can-
have, up to 10 different calendars. Like you could have a work calendar. You could share a calendar with your, children or whatever, and you can hide them and do things.
And with either of those calendars, by the way, you can also share within your own family. So you could use the Apple Calendar, and when you create a board meeting, for example, you can do it just for Monique, and then Monique can see only the Monique items, or she can see Monique plus the Natalie items, and then Monique plus Natalie plus Gabe. So
Mhm.
you could increase or decrease the noise in your calendar to the degree that you want.
Yeah, that's a really nice feature of that.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I want as little noise as possible.
Yeah.
and there's also this really nice search function in the calendar too.
Yeah.
I don't know if people know about that, but I use that all the time actually.
Show them what
Got
that
it.
is at the top.
Yeah, tell us what.
So it just allows you to search for things in the calendar. So I want to look to see when I saw my friend Bonnie. I know I got together with her, but I don't really know what day that was. So I'm going to look for Bonnie. Oh, and there it was, visit with Bonnie and Ann. See, it was on Friday the 13th.
And show them the micro magnifying glass that you use to get to it.
So up in the top right-hand corner,
Yep.
here is the search function. So this was the add event function, is the plus, and then this was the search. And then this one next to it is the view. This is how we got to that view. This is how it lists things by list.
Ah,
Tap it again.
Now, these are all my lists. That was Friday. This was all Friday. Wow, it's a lot.
oh my God.
Or you can go to, day like this.
So the magnifying glass that you see there is in-app search. So that's going to search only within that app. So most of the Apple apps will have an in-app search that are searching just within that app. But we taught you at the top of the call about global search. So if Monique wasn't even in the calendar app, but she was trying to remember when she last met with Bonnie, she could do a global search from the homepage and type in Bonnie, and it may bring back a whole bunch of other noise like websites or
Yeah.
Bonnie's contact information and things like that. But it would also show a calendar entry of Bonnie, visit with Bonnie. So in-app search versus global search is all the distinction I'm making. Okay, let's wrap. Monique, I think, is that okay? Or do you have anything else you want to throw in?
Yeah, no, that's great.
There's a lot more we wanted and intended to cover. I'm glad we squeezed in a couple of the items that folks wanted. I'm glad we squeezed in those that Monique and I thought were pretty important up top. The emergency and the medical stuff. I think that's important for us.
You couldn't do a part 2?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at here. And I'm
Yeah,
glad-
let's do it
This is wonderful. I mean,
Good.
thank you so much.
with a little time in between so we can absorb everything we just
digest
heard.
it, huh? Well, that's nice. Thank you for the kudos. We would be happy to. We could do another roundtable in this format. I would hope that we can get more folks to chime in, but it's also nice to have a smaller group because then you've got more, probably, more people absorbing what you're saying, and then I'm not getting lost. But other options are, and we haven't run this by the board yet, but that'll be easy enough, that we do a bit of an office hours model, and that needs to be when we're feeling COVID safe. But Monique and I talked about how happy we'd be to meet each other down at a cafe somewhere handy,
Sure.
Yeah.
one Sunday per month, and anybody can come join. And as long as we're not overwhelmed with too many iPhones and requests, and we can handle it, the two of us, and maybe Natalie can come show up every now and then. That might be another approach. Would you guys be interested in a sort of a cafe office hours approach?
Yes.
Yes.
I want to book Natalie.
Yeah. None taken, Karen. Good. Then, so those are things we can do. And we do still want to get back to, sooner rather than later, the info fair, where Monique does this, used to do this sort of every year for a little while back in the pre-quarantine days. So that would be an automatic then. But we think that there's a lot more need out there that hasn't been addressed, since, not just because we don't have info fairs, but because there's just a lot of need in the tech space for this kind of info.
Yes.
All right, well, we're well past our 6:30, but you're very patient to stick with us. Thank you.
Well, thank you very
You
much.
guys are
Yeah,
great.
thank you so much.
Good. We will edit this and get it up to date and post it on pdactive.org probably in the next couple days. And from all of us in PDActive, thank you, Monique, and thank you, Natalie. That was great. Great to have you with.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
All of you.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a nice evening. I'm sorry we're late into your evening, but have a good evening. Take care.
Oh, no problem.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All
We
right.
really appreciate you.
Good.
Bye.